Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Royal Deception. Angela M., thank you so much for being here first. I really do appreciate it. By the way, I don't think we'll be here more than a half hour. 30 minutes. More than an hour. Yeah. Okay. And just to make sure of that, why don't we just get started? Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Well. Look who's back from the gym and looking good, I might add. Um, I tell you, every time you see Omen Scobie, he looks more and more like a Scooby snack. Seriously, I was just like, you know what? I should have went to the bank. I need some singles. Well, I know nowadays when people perform, they usually get fives and tens and even 20s, but I'm old school. I started handing out them singles. Um, yeah, you know what? I think we should do a GoFundMe so that we can get him a pole, put a pole right in the middle of his living room. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me get out this man's business. But it was good to hear from him today. um, okay, here we go. I'm gonna play his soundbite. Ready? Here goes.
My house. Right. I am a sweaty mess right now, but I just got home from the gym and there were 4.
Uh-oh. It's buffering. Come on, let's try that again. Right.
I am a sweaty mess right now, but I just got home from the gym and there were 4 boxes outside my house, and I'm 99% sure that they are the final retail copies of my next book, Royal Spin. And as some of you may know, as authors, we don't really get to see the final copy until very close to launch. We're less than 10 days away now. We get these things called galley copies that are like kind of cheaper, I guess, like lower quality paperbacks that get sent out to retailers and reviewers and things like that. But the actual retail copies, we don't see until the very last minute. So all the things that you ask for, whether it's like a gloss accent on the front of the book or certain colors to pop, you never know until you actually get to see it that it's been fully executed. So I thought we'd check them out together. And just as I hoped, they are nice and bright. And it probably is the wrong way around. I don't know how to flip the camera on this. But there she is. This is a fun first novel for me. It is a story of our female protagonist, Lauren Morgan, who moves from the breakneck world of politics in Washington to take over the Buckingham Palace press office. It is fish out of water. It is second coming of age. It is workplace comedy drama. And at the center of it is a rather fun love triangle between Lauren and our royal reporter, Oscar. and the Duke of Exeter, Jasper, who has just moved back to the UK, hoping to start a new life as a working member of the royal family, which is something he's never done before. This was such a fun book to work on, especially after a crazy and chaotic number of years covering the royals. Stepping away from that world and getting to focus on new projects has been not only good for me, but also just like really, really enjoyable. I'd had the idea for Royal Spin for quite some time, and I kind of been like playing around with the idea of the world it takes place in and the characters and keeping diaries throughout all my years of covering the royals. But sitting down with Robin Benway, my co-author, and kind of writing it together was such a fun experience. We both really enjoyed it. I'd love to hear what you guys think over the days ahead. I've already seen some of the kind of early reviews from some of our selected early readers, and it's been really fun to see which characters they resonate with, who they want to see more of. We have plans to write more of these, and I think that there's so much more for Lauren's story and for the cast of characters around her. My personal fave, Joy Hamilton, our diversity czar at Buckingham Palace. It was a role that the palace never made happen in the end, and I wanted to see what that would look like if it actually did. So there it is, Royal Spin, out February the 10th in the US, the 11th in the UK, and across the Commonwealth. Check it out. Thanks for watching.
Okay, well, that is Omid Scobie's new book, Royal Spin, along with Robin Benway. And they're supposed to turn that into a series. It's going to be a fish out of water story for sure. And they're going to turn it into a series. So I think that it's going to be a lighthearted comedy. So it should be pretty cool. It should be pretty cool. I didn't realize that there was a book that was, or did I know that? Maybe I did. Anyway, so that is Omid Scobie, fresh out of the gym, and embracing that California lifestyle, drinking protein shakes and going to the gym and literally turning the clock back. I mean, how old is he? 44, 45? Yeah, he should be 45 this year, I think. He and Meghan are the same age. And just like Meghan, some of those bitter Bettys could not stand that youthful glow that he has. And so they ran him out of town. Yep. They were like, it was something about the book Endgame that just rubbed them the wrong way, and they could not forgive him. So he really did, in my opinion, he had to leave town because staying over in the UK, the tabloids had really turned against him. And they were, if I'm correct, I believe they were even like calling his family and trying to dox him and his parents and whatever. So it got so ugly. It really got ugly. So cheers for him. I'm glad he's got this new exciting life in California. And, California dreaming. It's the Golden State. It is the land of opportunity. Do you know how many people have gone to California and they have had some of the best, most successful years of their career? So he's in a good place. And as for the rest of them, well, we know what their story is. They are just simply bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Wait, I say, and somebody needs to say it. Right? Somebody? Okay, where the heck is my bitter? Bitter. Am I spelling it wrong? No. Well, that's weird. Maybe I deleted it. But why would I do that? Why would I do that? Let me try one more time. It's not even fun now, but what the hell? I'm committed. I am committed. I've gone too far to turn back now. Well, for whatever reason, it just ain't working. That is so weird. I'm starting to get bitter. Oh, well, let's try this one.
Bitter. And somebody needs to say it. Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter.
Why do I always picture Betty Davis? Bitter, bitter, bitter. What a dump. It was bitter, bitter, bitter. Peter, bring me the bitter. Okay. Let's go to the next thing, shall we? Well. Page 6 seems to be confused about a thing, huh? I don't know how they got confused by this, but confused they are. They seem to be of the opinion that that Netflix is giving the whole shop away. And what led to that, pray tell? It's anybody's guess. It is anyone's guess. So I'll share just a little bit of Celebici. It says here several weeks ago there was a deranged investigation into the Duchess of Sussex's As Ever brand, specifically about how much stock inventory As Ever had. The investigation found that Meghan had tens of thousands of products in inventory. The problem for the deranged community, they ended up proving that Meghan has likely already sold close to 1 million jams and probably tens of thousands of teas, honey products, and As Ever wines. Their investigation came back to bite them in the ass. And they've been crying about it ever since, wailing that it's disturbingly wrong to buy Meghan's jam and products. Well, I have no doubt that the As Ever investigations or investigators are behind this hilarious unhinged page 6 story. Someone has a source in Netflix who claims that Meghan is storing thousands of unwanted jams at Netflix's headquarters. and Netflix is just giving them away, you guys. Are we to believe that Meghan has like every cupboard in the stately palatial Sussex Manor is filled with jars of jam, right? Every place you look around the Sussex household, there's jam. If you try to swim, you can't because the swimming pool is full of jars of jam. You want to go to the little tea house? You can't. It's also being used. And because Meghan ran out of space to store these unwanted jars of jam, they began sending them over to the headquarters of Netflix. Every time someone opens a drawer, there's like dozens of jars of jam. Ted Sarantos's parking space, he couldn't use it because there was pallets of jam there, right? You try to use the executive restroom, impossible. There's crates and crates of jam. And it's about time that Meghan was exposed for having these tens of thousands of crates of jam all over Netflix, all over the Sussex household. Even the kids, when they go to school, they have jars of jam in their little backpacks with the instructions to give them to the teachers, right? because Meghan is stuck with all these jars of jam. Oh well, if they need to fix some potholes or if they need to repair like a retaining wall, all they have to do is just stop by the Sussex household and just pick up some of those jars of jam, and they'll have that retaining wall fixed in no time. Not one new house will fall into the ocean because of shoreline erosion. They can fix it with jars of jam because there are just tens of thousands, maybe millions of them unsold. And the derangers have discovered this very troubling fact that there are thousands of jars of unsold, no, I'm sorry, millions of jars of unsold um, as ever products. So, I feel better just getting that off my chest. I have been holding this secret for so long that it was starting to eat away at me. But now that people know what's really going on, I feel exonerated. I do. I really do. So sorry, Meg. I had to tell the truth. Otherwise, I would jeopardize my well being had I kept that to myself. So, what could I say? The Derangers have won again. They have everything figured out. Now, all they have to do is find the Loch Ness Monster, and we can all get some rest around here. Well, Netflix staff are helping themselves to free as ever products as the streamer's Los Angeles offices are filled with Meghan Markle's wares. Page Six has learned. This is from the article. Apparently, there are 2 storage rooms packed with as ever products, said a source. They literally just given it away to employees. It's weird that they didn't take a picture of it. But yeah, they're just giving it away to the employees. One staffer walked out with 10 products for free. What? We're told that the jars of jams, candles, wine, and Meghan's famous flower petal sprinkles are being kept in storage rooms at the Icon Tower, an epic building at the sprawling Netflix campus in Hollywood. There's so much overstock, confirmed a second source. Page Six has reached out to Netflix and reps for Markle, who did not immediately return requests for a comment. Oh, get this, it gets better. Despite this, we're told as ever inventory was long ago moved to another warehouse. Well, that explains why they don't have a picture of it and is not stored in and is not stored at Netflix headquarters. What remains at the offices for gifting, sampling, and promotional use, hence staff being allowed to take home freebies. Now, wait a minute. Y'all make up y'all GD man. First, you say that it's being stored there in a couple of conference rooms. Now you say that it was moved. All of this in the same article. Now they say it was moved to another location. Now, this is not celibacy. These words are what comes from the article. How could they contradict themselves like that? First, you say it's there, then you assure us that it's not. It's just a limited amount that is available for gifting. Markle's sources were told to deny the business was in trouble last month after a website glitch revealed unsold inventory of roughly 650,000 items. Although now resolved, the site briefly displayed inventory that included approximately 220,000 jars of jam. You know what they're doing, don't you? They're trying to clean up the mistake they made the first time around by printing that misleading and misrepresenting article. What was it, 2 weeks ago? and only to find out that what was it, almost $30 million has been earned just from the one product alone. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to have it both ways. I That phrase that I hate so much, I hate to say it, but they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Anyway, this is a bunch of hooey, a bunch of nonsense. Um, they need to believe that Meghan is in trouble, that Netflix is angry, and they just recycle that over and over again. Netflix is a business worth 350 billion plus, yet according to the Duchess of Sussex haters, Netflix's sole interest is being wrapped up with Meghan, and as ever, no, Meghan is not keeping thousands of jars in storage in some Netflix back room, and no, Netflix is not giving away large quantities of unwanted as ever products. This is some kind of bizarre rumor fueled by the same people who claim that their dog walker's cousin, plumber's ex wife, knows someone who works at Netflix, and they swear Meghan marches around Netflix in stilettos, making white women cry. Note by Celibici, we're trying out links to our new affiliate program. In a top photo, Meghan is wearing the what is that? The Sienna wide brim Ecuador hat. Oh, okay, this is something they have on their website. Oh, all right. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you, Celibici. That was very well done, and I'm looking forward to them doing another podcast, but because of the very sad state of the geopolitical situation we're in, they have been unable to lend their voices, but they have been keeping up with their writings. So that's the next best thing as far as I'm concerned. Now, this spot of bother. Media now credits Kate Middleton for brands Meghan Sussex made royally famous. How could they? Well, we know how they can. This is to create a diversion because this early into the year, Kate is out working right now and they need a distraction. So when she does a little abracadabra and go poof and disappear for maybe the next 2 months, only to resurface for trooping, no, not trooping the colors. She'll resurface for the Commonwealth ceremony. Yes, that's when she'll resurfaces for the Commonwealth. Commonwealth Day, all of a sudden she'll come back, rested, probably very tan, no doubt spending time at some island or something like that. And then they'll work for about a week and disappear again until the Trooping the Colors. You could almost set your watch by Kate. Almost. I mean, yeah, it's always some excuse for her. So anyway, let's get into that article. So it says here, royal fashion used to be sold as fairy tale of instant success for fashion outlets. Wear a coat, carry a bag, and struggling labels would supposedly bloom overnight. That narrative worked for years because the press repeated it often enough. Yet the record now tells a different story. Multiple British brands linked to Kate Middleton have since faded or faced administration layoffs or quiet closures. while the myth of a guaranteed commercial boost continues to circulate as if nothing changed. At the same time, accusations that Kate's wardrobe mirrors Meghan's style are no longer whispers confined to fan forums. Side by side comparisons, stylists follow lists, and documented timelines have filled social feeds with previous reporting alike. The pattern has been noted repeatedly, not as gossip, but as an observable sequence. Meghan wears it first, headlines follow, and months later, a similar silhouette appears elsewhere with a new credit attached. In other words, Kate. What makes the current moment sharper is the media pivot now unfolding as once celebrated Kate effect struggles to match its reputation. Coverage increasingly links her to brands that Meghan originally elevated. Again, the struggle to match its reputation coverage increasingly links her to brands that Meghan originally elevated. Media outlets push shoe labels and handbags that Meghan spotlighted back into the news with new captions and recycled praise. Editing the original story in real time, the results is a rebranding exercise designed to keep its inflated legacy afloat, even when the receipts suggest another author wrote the first draft. Isn't that something? They are literally doing a copy and paste. They're allegedly copy and pasting articles so long as they flatter Kate. They're changing the wording, they're changing some names, and next thing you know, it looks like Kate has done something extraordinary, when the truth is something very different. The brands Meghan elevated first. In 2018, several smaller fashion labels experienced sudden global exposure after Meghan wore their pieces during official visits. Founders openly credited her influence with job growth, factory expansion, and months of back orders. These were not vague impressions, they were measurable outcomes shared in interviews and financial reports. The language used by business owners often sounded emotional because the impact felt immediate and life changing for local workers. Like, for instance, that purse that Meghan has there. See the green purse on the left side? That purse, that purse just like blew up overnight. And at some point, even the queen consort or the future queen consort decided that she needed one of those bags. So, Meghan later explained that she viewed clothing as a quiet form of advocacy. She chose brands with purpose and strong female leadership, and she understood the ripple effect her wardrobe could create. That philosophy resonated with the audiences who saw her fashion choices as intentional rather than decorative. The narrative around her style, therefore, is linked directly to support for small businesses, not just aesthetics. Because Meghan cares. Look at there. Princess Kate champions brands made famous by Meghan Markle during Wales' visit. Now, Hello Magazine is kind of calling her out, and I was surprised by that. But yeah, they are kind of calling her out. But let's go back to Feminegra. It says here, When those very same brands resurfaced years later on Kate Middleton's royal calendar, many observers do not view it as a fresh discovery. They see a pattern and they already watched unfold. The original spotlight is still traceable. Media framing and the rise of Kate's effect. Mainstream outlets now describe a polished commercial surge tied to Kate Middleton with striking confidence. Headlines celebrate revenue jumps, international sales, and heritage branding as it as if each handbag appearance began a new chapter rather than continuing an existing one, like the one that Meghan started. The language leans heavily on stability and tradition, presenting her influence as dependable consolidation instead of fresh discovery. That framing becomes especially noticeable when it arrives alongside glowing financial statistics and carefully selected timelines. Okay, I think I'm done with that. But it's a much longer article, and I am going to put the link in the chat in case you want to continue this. Oh, thank you very much. Hey, Church Nelly, I'm going to put the direct link to this one, if that's okay. And I'll pin that to the top of the chat. But either of those links, you can find the article, same headline that you see right there. But this link will take you directly to it. Okay. Oh, let me see. Why is this giving me trouble? Okay, it is pinned to the top of the chat. So again, if you want to finish that article, there it is. Now let's go to Hello Magazine. We'll just do a couple of these. The Princess of Wales championed a brand once made famous by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, on Tuesday as she paid a visit to textile manufacturers in the stunning landscapes of West Wales. You know what? If I didn't know better, I would think that this was done deliberately just to try to get people to notice that she is actually doing some work. That's probably what it is. Kate spent time at Melon, what is that, Tregwent, a woolen mill, weaving traditional designs in a remote wooded valley in Pembrokeshire coast. Skip. Brands once associated with Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, famously wore their high waist skinny jeans on a trip to Cardiff with Prince Harry in 2018, her first official royal visit to Wales, and brought the company to global attention. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And so Kate deliberately goes and walks in her sister-in-law's footstep. Oh gosh, she gives me gas. You know that? She gives me gas. There she is, like a almost. She's wearing the big leg pants, right? And then, of course, she decided to go with this very unusual coat. I'm still not sure if I like the coat or not, but anyway, she's wearing that very unusual coat instead of wearing a more traditional tartan pattern. She's going with this one. And then, because we have been calling her lazy over and over again, she actually sat down and started doing some work. And look at how embarrassing that is. Look at how the employees have to stand there like a bunch of sentinels. They got to stand there and pay homage to Kate. That is just it's sad. I mean, why are they standing at attention while she's sewing? How humiliating for them. Anyway, the Princess of Wales beams as she helps create special pair of trousers for William during visit to traditional textile firms, all while sporting vintage Welsh wool coat. Well, you know what? William did say she looked like she fell into a charity shop. He said that about her clothes one time, that she looked like she fell through a charity shop. And you know what? I am in total agreement. And for some reason, these kids decided to turn their backs away from her. She was trying to greet them, and well, I don't know. I guess they figured grandma had more integrity than Kate. So I don't know. Maybe they just by chance snapped that photo. But yeah, seemed like the kids turned their back on her. Glow says, expect anything from the royal PR machine. Kate Middleton does her own part together with the media to try and colonize Meghan's profile. Hello. I agree with that. It is all very deliberate. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's almost like stalking a person. It is very insulting behavior. I believe that it's a way of warning a person how much reach they have available whenever they choose to, you know? I don't like it. It's a very sick game. Now, shamed Andrew kicked out. We're supposed to believe that Andrew has been clinging to Royal Lodge and that with these latest revelations, once and for all, I suppose he's been kicked out of the house. And I guess everyone should take a collective sigh of relief that this monster has been punished. Well, they've been punishing him for, I don't know, ever since the Queen stopped him from doing any official royal duties, right? He still had all the other trappings of royalty, but I don't hold my breath on this one. Unless he's kicked out of the country, or I don't know what would be a great punishment for him. Or if they're serious, send him to speak to the FBI. Yeah, if you're serious, or invite the FBI over to speak to him. Compel him to have a meeting with the FBI. Invite the Federal Bureau of Investigations over to the UK and let them go ahead and interview him wherever they choose, wherever it's available. I like that one. Put together a delegation and just go over there and speak to him. Who cares where it takes place so long as it's authentic, so long as they mean it. Stripper and the Duke. By the way, the big white block that you see on the left and the one right here, I just could not share that picture of him down on the floor again. It's so disturbing to me. I'm not sure what's going on in the picture, and I just don't like looking at it. So I want to spare you, and I want to spare myself. So that's why it looks that way. Every so often, we, the public, are forced to digest some very lurid details about very powerful people. Like, for instance, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and this guy right here, and a few other events that has taken place. We, the public, are forced to endure those horrific details, even if you don't see any photographs or anything like that. Just the mere words is disturbing. And what's all of those people have in common is that nothing really happens. There doesn't seem to be a punishment. I'm just really tired of them saying what they're going to do to Andrew, the sick old man, only to find out that nothing in particular happened and nothing is going to happen. Those powerful people, they take care of each other. I was very disappointed with Philip Schofield. I was very disappointed with that. I like him as a person, but I don't like that he got away with whatever alleged thing he got away with. In every instance, I'm troubled by the fact that they can buy their way out of these things. And I said the same thing when it was Michael Jackson, and I said it was the same thing when it was O.J. Simpson. Any of those things would be enough evidence to lock you or me up for the rest of our natural born lives. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what they've been through. You are able to buy your way out. And I don't like it. Let's see. April Love. Thank you very much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And let's see. Someone sent me a PayPal. Or did I just get billed? Wait, did I just have to make a payment for something? Anyway, if that is the case, I will see it later. And thank you in advance. Oh no, it is. I think so. Yeah. No. Oh, I don't know. I can't tell. Well, anyway, thank you. If something did happen, I'll look at it later. And thank you for being here as usual. Oh, and wasn't something like that? Didn't Charles III have a girlfriend that had like some accident or fall from the window or something? Didn't he have a friend in a past life that was crippled or something like that? I can't remember. What's her name? I can't remember the name. Oh well. Was it grasshopper or kangaroo or some weird name? Help me out. I can't remember the name. It was a lady. Kanga. Okay, what did I say? Grasshopper or kangaroo? Kanga. There we go. Thank you very much, Kanga. I knew it was something weird. I don't really know the whole story about that, but I just know it was something weird. As per usual with that family. But you know what, guys? Seriously, the day of the when they announced the O.J. Simpson, I was so disappointed. I was very disappointed. I was so disappointed. I watched that whole trial. The whole trial. I was addicted to it. And when I saw um, you know, what the verdict was, I just stood there. I stood in front of the TV frozen. I'm like, seriously? I couldn't move. I was dumbfounded. Yeah, I wasn't one of those people that were just like, well, this happened and that happened to I don't care. That man was able to buy his way out of it. I don't care whether he did it or not. The evidence said he did. And of course, the jury said something. I was just like, oh my God, how could this be happening? I was very disappointed. I couldn't buy my way out of a traffic ticket. So, the Epstein files bring Prince Edward into spotlight as media coverage turns defensive. Oh, you guys, this was just Edwina was he was doing something, and the lady asked him about the victims, and his response was very clumsy, very hard to watch. So I'm going to share with you Dr. Tessa Dunlap's take on it. Well, you know what? Let me do a couple of bars of Feminagra, and then we'll get to Dr. Tessa Dunlap. Don't cry for me, Princess Edwina. The truth is, you look kind of meaner. Let me see here. The newest release of the Epstein documents did not, more than reopen a familiar scandal. It exposed how quickly attention can shift from paper trails to polished sound bites rather. Sound bites. Okay, newly released file contains a 2024 FBI intake email in which complainants alleged that Prince Edward was present on that's not Edward or Andrew? What? Am I looking at this right? That Prince Edward was present on Jeffrey Epstein's private island? In group shots? Yet no images are attached to the file itself, and no court has examined the claim. Wow. Okay. Circulated online during newspaper reports from the early 2000s that describe social proximity between members of the British royal circle and Epstein. These archival fragments add context and fuel speculation, but they do not by themselves establish misconduct or confirm presence of any specific event. Oh, I tell you. Edwina, what have you been doing? Well, let's take a look at these. It's them quiet ones. You know what they say? It's them quiet ones. Prince Edward tells Event that Epstein's victims must be remembered as he addresses scandal. Royal bombshell. Prince Edward says, remember victims as he breaks rank and becomes a... Wait a minute. Okay, Edward. Okay. You know, I always mix up Edward and Andrew, so I have to make sure that I'm knowing I could picture the face as I'm talking. Okay. Hey, Ruth. See, it's been a while, right? Oh, Miss Viv is here, huh? Well, if you just joined us, make sure you do a thumbs up. Okay, let me get to Tessa Dunlap. So that's the event. See the blue background? That's the event where Edward, not Andrew, Edward was speaking in a forum. And anyway.
So finally, a royal cornered on stage and forced to give his opinion about Epstein and his brother Andrew.
Well, with the best will in the world, I'm not sure this is the audience that is probably the least bit interested in that.
No, Edward, take it from me. The only thing that everyone in that room was thinking about was what you were thinking about the whole sordid Epstein affair.
But no, I think it's all really important always to remember the victims and who are the victims in all this.
Absolutely.
A lot of victims in this.
Victims? He's unable to actually articulate who the victims are. We're left wondering, is he concerned about his sister-in-law Fergie's homelessness, or is he genuinely worried about those underage female victims of Epstein, the former bestie of his brother Andrew, the man last seen on All Fours? Just to remind you, our Queen Consort Camilla spends her time campaigning for domestic violence charities. And this is all the royal family can manage? They can't even suggest that their brother should give evidence to the Congressional Committee? So much for the tip-top of Britain's social hierarchy. Now, that's what I call leadership.
Okay. Well, how about that? So yeah, Edward, not Andrew, Edward, he spoke very little. He said that people in this forum likely want to discuss whatever it is they're talking about, and that they don't want to talk about his brother. That's what he suggested. And then, of course, he said we have to think about the victims. Why do I get the feeling that when he says victims, that he's considering his brother and his sister-in-law, and not so much the the victims, the real victims? Why do I get that feeling? Not only for his brother and his sister-in-law, but for every society person, every aristocrat, everyone who has had some dealings with Epstein. It seems as though, I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, but from his tone, I get the feeling that he thinks everybody is a victim. Everybody except for Epstein. Yep. Every corporate CEO, every entertainer, whoever, whatever, that they are also victims. I just get that tone. I'm not saying that's what he said, but it just feels like that to me. Yeah, it just feels that way. And unless he's more specific, then how do we know that he means it? He was very vague, too vague. So I don't believe him. I don't think that what he said was sincere. Um, but then I was thinking about how he has responded to other situations where he was put on the spot and he seems to be at a loss for words. Like when they went on their Caribbean tour, he and Ford Fiesta, remember they were asking him something about reparations or whatever it was. And he made some joke about what happens if I push this button, and the joke really hit the ground hard. It just did not do anything. But the prime minister, what country were they in? It's not Jamaica. I forgot the country. I'll show you. Um, uh, does it say there? Anyway, this guy right here. They gifted him that lousy photo, and of course you can see his reaction is pretty deadpan. Like, are you serious? And so because his words fell flat, his attempts at humor did not really make the target, did not hit the target. They canceled part of their trip. See there? The Earl and Countess of Wessex canceled trip to Grenada at the last minute. Abandonment comes after the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge faced protests and criticism on their tour of the Caribbean. So they decided to soldier on with this trip around the Caribbean themselves, only for them to fall flat with the guy right there. So the whole thing was a complete disaster. I don't know, maybe the government or the queen or whoever thought, okay, Will and Kate were failures. Let's send a safer pair of hands. That's it. Why don't we send a safer pair of hands? Secret weapon Sophie, secret weapon Edward. We'll send them to the Caribbean, and they fell flat, just like the others. Just like the others. I mean, there's just no accounting for how bad this was. Lousy, pathetic, buffoonery. So bad they had to cancel part of the trip. Just like Will and Kate when they tried to go to, what was it, Belize? No, was it Belize or wherever they were trying to go? And those people in the village were just like, nope, don't come here. We don't want you. If you don't know how to ask properly, then we don't want you to hear at all. So, yeah, very poor form for those two. And I am starting to worry for anyone that questions Edward because we know that his brother Charles has a bit of a temper. We know that his father, Philip had a bit of a temper, but we don't know about him. We even know about Willie's temper, but he's kind of like an unknown. But for whatever reason, he gives me that Anthony Perkins energy, right? He gives me that very Anthony Perkins energy, like he could snap any minute. Like just when you thought it was safe to go back in the shower, here he comes. Eat, 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 eat. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at how crazy Anthony Perkins look, and look how crazy he looks. I'd have to think twice. I'd have to really think twice about being around him, because he could just snap any minute. He could snap like a fresh snow pea. So let's see. Yes, police don't mess with Mayans, especially in the South. Amen to that. And then, of course, during the global pandemic, when we had a chance just to see how crazy those eyes are looking, I was like, oh, you're scaring me. Mm-mm-mm. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Look at those beady eyes. And look at how those ears curl forward. Isn't that one of the signs of fetal alcohol syndrome when those ears are curled forward? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that anybody was hitting the sauce during during that 9 months, but something happened. Yeah, I don't suggest that. So this is all for fun, but my goodness. How about this one? I want that ring. Give me the ring. Oh, my pretty ring. My pretty ring. I want that ring. Photo Baggins, give me that ring. Huh? You know, I expect him to do that hiss like a cat. I want that ring. My pretty ring. Photo Baggins. I'm not saying that he is demonic. I'm just saying he looks demonic. Is that okay to say? That he looks demonic? Yep. Mm-mm. Could it be the devil in me, or is this the way? I mean, it looks like a demonic apparition, or however you say that. Anyway, let me get this picture out of here. Scary. I'm scared. Okay, you guys. I want to share this with you. Um, and yeah, and then after this, I don't have anything else. But I said about an hour, so we're going to stick to that. But look at that beautiful painting. And like most things, there's a story behind this. Um, Two of my favorite antique people are Lee Kino and his twin brother. Oh gosh, whatever his name is, but their names are Kino. That's their last name, Kino. And they used to appear on PBS. And these two are like um, some of the best experts, especially when it comes to furniture. Oh, do they? I mean, they could look at wood and tell you if it's poplar or if it's yellow pine, white pine. I mean, they just have an eye for those things. They know all of the well known craftsmen and cabinet makers and such. Anyway, so Lee Kino gets an email back in 2011 telling him that they have a painting, and they believe that painting is a oh gosh, who is the artist? Um oh, it escapes me. But the painting is called Twilight on the St. John's River, right? And so when Lee Kino saw that picture in his email, oh my goodness, that set off a chain reaction of events. He had to hurry up and get down there to Texas. He was in New England. He had to hurry up and get down there to Texas before someone else got a hold of that painting. Well, the person who owned the painting, he said that whoever got there first, would have access to the painting, and eventually the painting would go to an auction. Now, the person who owned the painting paid a very princely sum of $25. And we're talking back in the early 2000s, right? Well, the gentleman's son looked at the corner of the painting and saw the name Martin Johnson Heed. Martin Johnson Heed. In Arlington Heights, Massachusetts, is it? Yeah. Lee and Leslie, that's their names, the antique dealers. Lee and Leslie Kino. All right. So he got on a private jet. The next day, he was out of New York on a private jet to go down to Texas and meet with the owner of the painting. And so from the jet, a car greeted him and took him into town. I think it was Wellington, Texas. And he met with the family at a local restaurant. And of course, he paid for the meal. An image of the work as it is today after conservation by Tom Yost at the, C.C. and Hyatt Brown Museum of Art, Daytona Beach, Florida. So the painting has been restored. By the way, that's a picture of Lee Kino. This is the family that owned the painting. There's Kevin. That's the one who looked at the name and saw Martin Johnson Heed and thought that the painting might have some value. And that is his lovely wife, Angie, and their 4 children. I say, and their 4 children. There's a little voice inside of me that says, who's going to tell him? But anyway, that's another story. And then there's his father, his dad, Benny. Benny is the one who purchased the painting. He was driving along and he saw the painting in a yard sale. And so he asked the lady, how much do you want? She said $60. $60. And he said, well, I won't be taking this with me today. She said, all right, you give me 25 and you can take it with you. Get it out of here. So he gave her $25 for the painting. And the painting was in the family for years and nobody really paid any attention to it. I mean, there's something about the painting that just really pulls you in, right? This is a beautiful image of I believe it's the Florida Everglades or some river or whatever in Florida. And it just really pulls you in. So everybody in the family loved the painting, but they didn't really know how much it was worth. And so Benny's son began to send messages out to people, and Kino was the first one to respond. So when he got down there and he took a look at the painting, the first thing he did was have them turn the painting around and look at the back of it. Because like I said, he's an expert on wood. He can look at wood and tell you whether it's natural oxidation, whether someone has deliberately stained the wood to look older. Very good at his job. I shouldn't say good. He's an expert in the true sense of the word. And equal measure, his brother is also an expert. I used to love to watch the two of them on the Antique Roadshow. They were like little kids pawing all over the furniture and talking, about the quality of the furniture. Anyway, um, so looking at the back of it, there was a label that you would expect to see. The label was weathered, and where the wood split, the label split. So everything really checked. So he told Benny, I will have the money for you in the morning. Um, Please do not do anything with the painting. I'll have it for you in the morning. So Lee went to his hotel, and the painting stayed with the family. And he gets up the next day and he goes over to their home, and the family is all abuzz and excited because this painting is going to change their lives. I mean, it did. It really did change their lives. Now, what they're doing nowadays, I don't know. I couldn't find any information, but that's Pops with the white hat on, and the lady there, his lovely wife Roxanne. That's Pop's wife at the time of the story. And by the way, this video that I watched was from 2011, so that was a while ago. It was actually from 2011. So what's that? 15 years ago. Um, so he asked Benny. He said, "How did you sleep last night?" Benny said, "I didn't sleep at all." Benny sat up all night with a double barrel shotgun laid across his lap. And whatever that is in his left hand, I could assure you that is not a remote control. Okay? I could assure you that that is not a remote control. After all, they're from Texas, and Benny was not having it. So they waited and they waited and they waited hours that they waited for that payment to wire to Benny's bank. Someone in New York at the auction house or wherever the person was, I guess it was like a deposit that they were receiving for the painting or whatever. Or it may have been the entire price of the painting. I'm not sure. But they were waiting for some money, and the money did not arrive. And in the meantime, other people, other art dealers had come to town, other antique people had come to town, and they were all making offers. So this was really getting tense for Kino. So Lee, um, you know, waited with them, and a promise made is a promise kept. I said, whoever gets here first gets the painting. And finally, Benny's banker confirmed that the money was in the account and it was off to the car dealer. They gave him the painting. They removed the painting and put some cardboard over it and everything. And from there, the painting was put on board that private jet, and they flew back to New York. And I believe that the auction price was about $2 million. I think that's what they got for it. Yeah. So Benny's $25 investment turned into his $2 million fortune and changed his family's life forever. Isn't that a great story? Isn't that a great story? I love it. Yeah. So there you go, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And thanks for sticking around for that story. It's like one of my new favorites to tell. But yeah, so that's the painting again. And it is called, what the hell is that thing called? Twilight on the St. Johns River. And the painting is by Martin Johnson Heed. So I'm going to go ahead and put the proper spelling into the chat. So in case you want to look it up, there you have it. That's the spelling. Heed is spelled Heade. Right? So very cool. Anyway, that's it, you guys. As with Benny, a promise made is a promise kept. 1 hour and we're done. Cheers and thank you all for staying up or getting up early. Also, thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. Also, I thank you all for trusting me to do this work. That means so much more to me than you could ever possibly know. They say when you're doing something you love, it's not like work, is it? It really isn't. I know. Well done, Benny. $25, $2 million. The video, I watched it on Facebook, the video. You know what, you guys? I will put the link to the video if you want to watch it yourselves. Yeah, I'll put the link to the video. Why not? Also, happy Black History Month. The video is not the best quality. It's a little grainy, as you can tell from those screenshots. But here it is. Yeah. Upper East Side, New York, Lee Kino Galleries. I love the Kino brothers. They are so good at what they do. Yeah. I love those guys. They're so good at what they do. And you can see how everything fold. Yeah. Oh, you're quite welcome, Multiverse TV channel. Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And you guys, I didn't do much singing today. So you all got off light today, but that's okay. I'll get y'all next time. I'll get you next time. Zakoy Farms, welcome. Okay, I'm going to pin that to the top of the chat. There we go. That link is for the story that I just shared about the painting. Imagine that, a $25 investment, and the painting is worth, well, in 2011, they got $2 million for it. $2 million. One of the things that Lee Kino asked of Benny, he said, please show me the house where you bought this painting. And I believe he wanted to see the house because being an antique dealer, he was probably wondering if there was something else that he can acquire while he was visiting. My big thrift store find, I purchased a Frank Lloyd Wright clock for, of course, it wasn't an original clock. It was a clock that was inspired by one of Frank Lloyd Wright's many architectural jewels. And anyway, I recognized what it was, even though it did not say Frank Lloyd Wright. But you know how they say, if you know, you know. I recognized his cipher. And so I purchased the clock for $5. And retail, the clock, I've seen it as high as $200 and as low as like maybe $140. I even went to one of the Frank Lloyd Wright gift shops at one of the houses and saw the clock um, for about $200. I'll show you what it looks like if I can grab the photo. Now, the clock did have a few issues. That's it right there. You see there? That particular day, it retailed for $259. It's a mantle clock, and I believe it's maybe, I'm going to say about maybe 14 inches high. When I purchased it, the pendulum was missing. So I actually had to create a pendulum just to fill in that space. And I was able to do that using some materials and some Elmer's glue. But yeah, I fashioned a pendulum myself, and I made sure that I didn't spend any, well, not much more than, did I spend it? I don't think I spent anything for it. No, I didn't. Let me see if I can find a close up picture of it and I can show you how I fixed it. Well, I can talk you through it. So, the pendulum, I went to the hardware store, and you know how they have those paint samples? Well, I matched the paint sample to the green that you see on either side of the hands of the clock. See how the green matches the stained glass? And then the brown part of the pendulum that matches the I think that is that pine. I think that's pine. It matches the stain of the wood, right? So the green, I actually glued that on top of. I cut the little sample paint card, and then I glued that on top of a coffee stick. You know, the ones you stir your coffee with. I glued it on top of that. And then the bottom part, the square part or the rectangular part of the pendulum, the brown part, I actually took a piece of wood scrap and I glued that on top of it. And then I glued the two of them together. And then I used one of those clips that come with the coffee bag. That's what I use to connect it to the housing for the pendulum. And yeah, so that's my $5 Frank Lloyd Wright inspired clock, which I was wrong. It was more than $200. That particular day, it was valued at $259. It's made by Bulova. It's a Bulova clock, and it's battery operated. What do they call that? A quartz. It has a quartz movement. But if you look in the center of it and you see that red square, you can see the letter F. You can clearly see F. That's Frank Lloyd Wright's cipher. I think that's his initials, maybe. And when I saw that, I'm like, ooh, that's a Frank Lloyd Wright. So I didn't say anything to anybody. I just discreetly went to the cash register and I said, I'll take this. And so I purchased it for $5. And now I have this beautiful clock. The pendulum is not authentic, but I think it looks better than the actual pendulum that comes with the clock. As you can see, it's just that boring wood tone, but this has that splash of green that kind of brings it alive. So there you have it. So that's my big thrift store coup. I found that clock. And the clock is inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright house, which is called the Wilton House. So if you ever visit that home, you'll notice that the stained glass windows are very much identical to the stained glass on the clock, or art glass, if you want to call it that. Let's see, my dad was addicted to clocks, and I kind of inherited it. I can see a watch from every place inside my home. You know what, Maggie? Me too. I'm going to count how many clocks I have to set during daylight saving time. So I have the one near the front, well, in the front hall. And then I have one on my living room desk. I have one on the wall in the living room. Also, I have that clock in the living room. So what are we up to, 4? And then I have another clock in the hallway. So that's 5. And then the clock in my bedroom, the clock in the bathroom. Yeah, if I include the microwave and the coffee pot, I believe I have maybe 12 clocks to set on daylight savings time. And those are the clocks that are out for show. I do have clocks that I have to keep, stored because it just wouldn't make sense for me. Oh, my alarm clock. It just wouldn't make sense for me to put it out because then that's just too much. So it's bad enough I have 3 clocks in my living room. But yeah, I love clocks. And my favorite clocks are the ones with the Roman numerals. Love the Roman numerals. Let me see if I can find that Frank Lloyd Wright house. I believe it is called the Wilton House. I don't see it. Well, the real cool thing about the clock is that it's a great conversation starter. No, I don't have a picture of the house, which tells me that I'm probably not saying the right name. Frank Lloyd Wright Wilton House. Yeah, I think that's the wrong one. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I think oh, I know. Let me see here. Oh, it's Wilts, not Wilton, Wilts. Yeah, it says so right there. Wilts house. Is that 2 T's? Well, yeah, I don't have a good picture of the stained glass to show you. But yeah, Bulova, they have a collection of clocks. All of them are inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright. Oh, okay, the clock is 16 inches high. Oh, I was spelling it wrong. It's Willits, not Wilts. It's Willits. Add another I and take away one of those T's. Oh, that house is in Highland Park, Illinois. Okay, I'll show you the house. I tell you, if you really want to impress people, buy a Frank Lloyd Wright house. If you want to lose a lot of money, buy a Frank Lloyd Wright house. There you go. That's the house right there. The Duchess of Success is in the house. We're just wrapping it up, but it's good to say hi anyway. I hope you're doing well. I hope your cold is better. Your sinuses and everything, your postnasal drip. I tell you, I don't know how you could make it possible, but when I had that bad sinus thing after Christmas, I had some of Meghan's peppermint tea with some of Meghan's honey, and I drank it as warm as I could tolerate it. And it seems like that healed me. It really seemed as though that healed me. So recollections may vary, individual results may vary, but that tea was very potent. Mm. Oh, well, thank you. I don't know what I did, but thank you. Okay. Hey, Lex, were you here all this time? Because I just finished. I was just about to wrap it up. But you are just in time to hear me go on and on about that clock that I purchased for $5, only to see it on Amazon for $259. You know, I love telling that story. I think I probably told it on Royal Sussex at least 20 times. I was in the thrift store and I saw the clock and I said, you know what? That's a Frank Lloyd Wright. You see that little red square? That's his cipher right there. I said, $5? I gotta have it. So I went to the clerk and I said, I'll have this, please. Knowing that I had a bargain, not realizing though that, you know, it was going to be that pricey. And anyway, that is in a very prized place in my home. And then, of course, here's the part of the story where I talk about the pendulum. It was missing the pendulum, so I had to fashion the pendulum using whatever little scraps that I had available. And anyway, it's a great story the first 10 times you hear it. It is a great story the first 10 times you hear it. After that, it gets to be kind of like, a bit of a drag, but oh, thank you very much, Maggie. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, now the pendulum was missing, so I fashioned a pendulum out of one of those coffee stirrers and a little piece of scrap wood. And then to match the colors, I went to the hardware store and I took some of those sample cards from the paint section, and then I cut them and formed them and then glued them on top of those pieces, which of course I had glued those together. And I've been using it as a pendulum ever since. And I think it looks much better than the one that came with it, that little boring brown thing. Okay. Is there anyone here who didn't hear the story yet? Because I could do it again. Did anybody doze off the first time I told it or the second time? Because I love the story and I'm more than willing to do it again. Oh, Hazel Jones, did you watch that thing about the airline? That really messy airline CEO, who is now my hero, of course. That was a great story. Okay. Well, you guys, it has been oh, by the way, this is the Wilton house. The art glass, which is just beneath the roof line, the eave of the roof, that's where the art glass is. That is what inspired this clock, the Willits clock. Good night. Thank you so much, Tabby Cat Crumb. Tabby Cat Crumb, and I don't care. Tabby Cat Crumb, and I don't care. Tabby Cat Crumb, and I don't care. Oh, you catching up on your sleep? Well, I need to catch up on my sleep. Trust me, I really messed up with sleep the last couple of days, but it's okay. I'm going to get back on track again. Oh, it's nearly 10 o'clock. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Is that AM or PM? It's got to be AM. Hey, cookies and cream. Wow, Omis Scobie looks good for his age, right? 44 years old. Let's see. Princess, oh, that's the one that said that this is the end of the family. You know, that shaman got on my nerves. That shaman really worked my nerves. He was just enjoying his status a little bit too much for my taste. Yeah, the shaman worked my last nerves. Derek, whatever he called himself, Derek. Although I thought they had a very solid relationship, and I was thinking before I watched the documentary, I was of the opinion that she was, a bit of an easy touch, but after you see her, then you realize that she's not naive or gullible. She just, as a matter of fact, I give her respect for um, knowing what she wants and just going after it, taking charge of her life. But that shaman, I thought his slip was showing too much. Every time he opened up his mouth, I'm like, "Hey, lady, your slip is showing." Hey, lady, I say it just like Jerry Lewis. Hey, lady, bazava. Woo! Yeah, I like the shaman's honesty. I do think that he was a very honest person. He didn't try to hide anything, or well, to a degree. I mean, there were certain things that was just nobody's business, and he should have known that eventually it was going to come out. But yeah, he that kind of what is it, the main character syndrome, that was exhausting for me. And I really liked her parents because they were very accepting until it, got a bit out of hand. Yep. Oh, it's anti meridian AM. Thank you very much. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna go. Um, I said I have that we'd be on for an hour, and it's another 45 minutes. So, although I am enjoying it because I was able to talk about my clock. That was all I cared about. Long as I can get the story about my clock in there, we could stay on for another 2 hours. It's just every so often I have to talk about my clock. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Thank you, Heather Stroud. Ooh, I just remembered. I got some chocolate on the way. Good night, Legs. Good night, Hazel. You guys, Legs, Hazel Jones, and myself, we were on with a bit of a marathon the other day, 5 hours. So if you got some work to do and you just need some company, you could always watch that long video. I will put the link so you can find it. I'll make it easy on you. I'll find the link for it. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, 5 hours. Okay, I'm going to pin this link to the top of the chat. If you need just a little company while you're doing your errands, chores, housework, whatever, I would recommend it. Great conversation as always. Sometimes I go back and listen again. Okay, did I pin it or no? Okay, got it. Got it. Chomp, 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 chomp. Chomp, 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 chomp. Oh man, she was getting it, wasn't she? Okay. All right. I'm going to say goodnight for real this time. Good night.